Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of the Daily Dose. Today is Thursday, August 4th. And we really saw markets kind of flat today. The S&P 500 is kind of at a big resistance right now. And so we kind of saw at least a cooling off of all the buying and rallying that's been happening this week. And I think the markets are really just anticipating the July jobs report before they make their next big move. Oil fell below $90 for the first time since February, so that was kind of an indicator to the market that maybe inflation has kind of eased, or at least peaked for now. The S&P 500 was down 0.1%, the Dow was down 0.3%, and the NASDAQ was up 0.4%, so just kind of flat around the board. And if we look at the year-to-date on this chart right here, you can see that none of the indices are in bear market territory anymore for the year, and basically what that means is 20% down from the high. The NASDAQ is only down 18.5% now, down now. The S&P 500 is down only 12.8%, and the Dow is down just under 10%. So we saw kind of a continuation, though, of growth in kind of the hyper-growth sector. Coinbase was up after their announcement with BlackRock that they were going to have a partnership for institutional investors that want to get involved in cryptocurrency. And I think, obviously, it's good news for Coinbase, kind of legitimizes them after they were kind of facing some pressures, some rumors that they could be insolvent. So obviously that is not the case, because I believe that BlackRock would not do a deal if that were the case. And it's kind of just a big deal for the cryptocurrency market in general, especially Bitcoin, that there is a market for institutional investors to get involved. So that's good news for the broader crypto market. Coinbase rather was at a low of $47.02 and was at a high of $115 today. So that was over 100% increase from the low. And it's kind of unfortunate. For ARK shareholders, Kathy Wood sold out of Coinbase. She had an average price about $248, I believe, and she sold out around $50, and then it moved back up to $115. So I didn't really understand that sell from Kathy. She had been in Coinbase since IPO, averaging down, and then she sold after the rumors of the SEC probe. I don't know. I just didn't really understand that. Kind of looked like she was panicking and sold out, but then it ended up rebounding, and then they announced this deal with BlackRock. So I wonder if she regrets selling that position. I do have a stake in ARK, so that was kind of confusing for me. I don't necessarily like Coinbase as an investment. Usually brokerages and investment exchanges don't make for great investments, but yeah, I just didn't really understand her thinking there. So that was interesting. ARK did finish up green today, though, regardless. But I just thought that was interesting. So the unemployment insurance in the United States climbed to 260,000 for the week ended July 30th, increasing by 6,000. That would be an insane gain from the previous week. So the job market is starting to look a little bit shakier. We could see a third consecutive quarter of GDP shrinkage. I don't really know how the White House would spin that as not being a recession, but I won't get too into that. I'm always dogging on the White House in these videos, so I won't do that. The VIX has fallen to 22, which is its lowest close since mid-April. I honestly am not looking too much into that. If anything, the VIX is sitting on a support at 22 with a huge support at 20, and the S&P 500 is at a resistance. So either you break through those two levels and go into a strengthened market, which I believe would be a dangerous thing, or you bounce off both those levels and sell off. You go higher in the VIX, lower in the S&P 500, which I think is more likely of the two scenarios given the macro environment we're in right now. But nevertheless, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. So that's always something to think about. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Pretty much just flat for the day. This is where we opened up. We went down. We sold off. We bought back. It was just pretty much flat for the day, down 0.8%. Nothing really too much to look into here. Again, I think the market is kind of waiting on that jobs report. Let me make sure I'm looking at the right thing. Yeah, waiting for the July jobs report. I don't really think there's anything too much to look into here. Honestly, if we zoom out to let's zoom out to a year and then kind of zoom out like this. So the market is at a resistance right here. If you look where my cursor is, if you look across, that was a big level of buying in the past, and also a level of selling. So there's definitely resistance right here, and you can see that little red candle show up, which is the first time we've kind of seen that in the strengthened market. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the market sell off from here. I'm kind of hoping that they sell off from here. We've now filled these gaps where the market had aggressively dropped. I think it just makes sense for the stock markets and the equities to cool off. It doesn't really make sense for them to go higher. I think that would just be getting a lot of people trapped. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Bitcoin is actually showing weakness regardless of the deal that Coinbase and BlackRock made today. BlackRock is one of the largest institutional investment firms in the world, and they partnered with Coinbase to bring cryptocurrency investment to institutional investors. So I think that's a big deal just for the broad crypto market. We saw earlier this week that I keep forgetting which bank it was. I think it might have been JP Morgan, said that the fair value of Bitcoin is at $40,000. It's currently trading at $22,500, so that would be a pretty large increase of over 90%. But yeah, so nothing too crazy today to look into. Obviously, there are geopolitical things in the works with China. I saw that they flew jets into Taiwan airspace last night. They said that the repercussions for the Nancy Pelosi visit are still in the works. So who knows what will happen there. Hopefully we don't see any sort of violent conflict in Taiwan. Obviously, that would have a huge impact on the economic environment at large, especially if they interfered with Taiwan Semi. Like, that would just be devastating for the U.S. And just the broader market. So that's something to actually keep an eye on. But other than that, nothing too exciting today. The markets were flat. We're kind of sitting at a resistance. We're sitting at a support on the VIX. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. I feel like tomorrow could be an interesting day. I would be surprised if people bought into the weekend. I just feel like there's too much going on in the macro environment for that to be the case. So I wouldn't be surprised if the markets start to head lower tomorrow. But who knows? It's hard to predict the market day to day. So that's what we saw today. Thank you for listening. We'll be here tomorrow after the market close and this weekend for the weekly wrap. But other than that, thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in next time.